Hydrangeas are a garden landscape plant. A lot of us may have them in your yard. Maybe you're thinking about putting one in your yard this year. We have 4 different kinds we're going to look at today. We're going to discuss their pruning and their flowering to get you started. Oak leaf hydrangea is the first hydrangea we're going to take a look at. If you're in the nursery, you can buy it as a species, like these are. Peewee, which is a dwarf version, very nice. And then snowflake, which is kind of a double flowered one. So the flower heads are a little bigger, a little fuller. With oak leaf hydrangea, they flower on last year's wood. So on last year's buds. So we don't want to cut off any of these terminal buds. We're probably going to see our flowers come out of the ends of these canes here. What we want to do this time of year is just taking out the dead wood, maybe some broken things, that sort of thing. So not a lot of pruning on these. If you want to head them back and do more pruning, wait till after bloom. The next one we're going to take a look at is Hydrangea Paniculata, sometimes referred to as PG. One of the newer selections out there right now that's very popular is Limelight. I have that at home and really like it. The difference with this compared to the oak leaf is this flowers on this year's wood. So it sets the flower buds this year. So we can do a little bit more pruning on this, be safe with it, and not worry about reducing our flowering too much. So this time of year right now, I take off some of these old spent flowers from last year. I may reduce the height of this a little bit. I'm not going to take it to the ground. You certainly could if you had a more mature plant, but I usually suggest leaving, maybe a foot or so of last year's wood. That keeps the stems up because they do have very large flowers. If you've seen those pink or blue flowering hydrangeas and thought, oh gosh, I really have to have one, then what you're looking at is a Hydrangea Macrophylla. One of them that's out right now that's very popular is Endless Summers. The one we're looking at here is Glowing Embers, which is kind of a pinkish, bluish, pink and blue again. You know, the difference with these is a little bit more in prepping the soil. So we really dug this up, add a lot of compost and organic matter to this. All hydrangeas would benefit this. This certainly does. This again blooms on last year's buds. So again, we're just looking at removing the dead on this and leaving as much of last year's wood as possible. That's where this year's flowers will come from. Again, post-flowering, that's when we can do some of our harder pruning. Hydrangea Arborescens, this particular one is Annabelle, and it's a very common one. You'll see it a lot in the town you're living in. This is another one that blooms on the new wood, so the new buds that it sets this April and May. This is one typically folks will cut all the way to the ground. You don't necessarily need to do that. We really have started leaving, 12 to 18 inches of the cane to help support the heads because it can get very large flower heads that are really, really outstanding. So I know these have already leafed out. Yours may have too. We got behind a little bit, so it's all right to prune these now. Like I said, about 18 inches off the ground. All the hydrangeas we looked at really are very easy to grow and they're fun to have around the yard. A couple things to remember. Generally, hydrangeas enjoy some sun. You want to keep them out of the heat of the day. So if you have a west side of the house, something where it's going to get a lot of sun and heat, that probably wouldn't be the ideal spot. I like to think of them as really liking a half day, maybe slightly more sun, but again, from the east till just past noon. You really are going to want to modify the soil a little bit, add some compost and some organic matter, dig it in, a nice big area, and they'll do much better for you. They enjoy even moisture. We don't want to water them too much.